Michigan sports. Red Wings, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Michigan, Michigan State, and the list goes on. And you love beer. Love beer. Who doesn't? What if we mixed the two together? This is State of My Sports. We'll talk everything Michigan sports, like only we do, and then we'll down our fair share of beer from a local brewery, grading the beer throughout the episode. So pop a cold one on your end, and we'll get busy on ours. This is the State of My Sports.
And this is episode 185, recording live on December 20th, 2022 from DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe. We were off last week, so we will touch on the Lions' win against the Vikings, but also the win against the Jets. Back-to-back wins, so that we get to talk about. That's kind of fun. They went from 1-6 to 7-7, in position to make the playoffs. We'll discuss how this season has turned around and preview the Panthers matchup a little bit as well. We'll discuss the NFL playoff picture and lay out the Detroit Lion fan rooting guide for week 16?
Yeah.
17. No, 15.
I don't know. I just
15,
said, yeah.
I believe.
I trust
Doesn't
you.
matter. Without a Michigan game and playoff
In that range.
a Michigan game and playoff matchup to discuss yet, we will put a bow on the disappointing Spartan season and revisit some of the things that we said in our season preview. We will make our picks against the spread in our bettinghero.com segment. Of course, we will drink and review some Michigan craft beer. If you're joining us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, let us know what you're sipping on and be part of the conversation. Before we jump in, I did go out and I give a quick shout out to our sponsors that help keep this thing rolling and free for our listeners. DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe is the official brewery of State of My Sports. And bettinghero.com helps us and you get the best promotions available in the sports betting world. I am Sam Walthart. With me today, we got Micah Smith.
What's up?
We got John Dornbos and Ryan Walthart. Everybody's
Hello.
here.
Hey, I love the
This
energy,
is
by the way.
Thank
Great
you.
energy at the,
Yeah, I
in the
appreciate
intro.
it. I appreciate you saying
Yeah,
that.
it was awesome.
I worked really hard on that.
I'm
It only
fired up.
only took me 3 tries, so
Yeah.
worked out good. No, but we're all here, and we don't know how to make this work, so we're going to do our best. I mean, there's going to be a lot of talking, right? So we'll see. We'll have to keep it short, especially when we talk about the Packers.
We haven't had all of us here at the same time in a while,
It's
right?
been probably a year.
Probably since the season preview of
Probably.
the Sparties.
That's right. But John wasn't even mentally there because he was doing his draft.
Oh, I was all over the place
Oh,
that
yeah.
night, man. I was frustrated. I wanted to jump in your pool and
Yeah.
not
Wait.
come back up.
Wait, are we going to get a season recap of how that team went?
No, it's probably comparable to what Michigan State did from the same night on the season preview.
boy.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries and 2 QB league. I shouldn't have picked. Hey, somebody's phone.
Oh, I'm not hearing anything.
Oh,
I honestly am
not
not
either.
getting anything in my headphones right now.
Me either. I just thought it was because I was wearing a
The beanie
though. Yeah.
or a toque. Would you call it a beanie or a toque?
I've never said toque in my life.
No.
What's a toque?
said
Canadians
toque?
call them toques.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not Canadian, so I
Yeah.
guess that makes sense.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
I don't know. I've called them toques before. Like, so someone left one behind in the locker room when we were at, like, the coldest rink. Someone left, like, their Grand Valley alumni one. So I was like, oh, I get to use toque because this is a hockey group. So in the email out to everybody, I was like, and if anybody left a Grand Valley toque behind, we got it. Just let us know.
Wait, it's toque or tink?
Toque.
Okay.
Like T-U-K, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Never would have thought that.
Yeah. You're going to use it now.
But never again.
But you're
Probably
going to
not.
think about it every time.
Actually,
I'm not
you
Canadian.
Every time you put on your beanie, you're going to be like, oh, it's a toque as well. People might.
I'll forget that so fast.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
You visit Canada often. I mean, come on.
I've driven
Probably
through
the last
one
country
time.
he's ever been to recently.
I've driven through one time, yeah.
So how you guys been? John, you have a good week? Couple weeks, I guess?
Yeah, just busy at work. Same
Yeah.
old thing. Grinding away.
Excited for the holidays?
I am. I have a couple days off coming up
Nice.
the next 2 weeks. So, yeah, looking forward to a little bit of a breather and back to the grind after the calendar turns.
Yeah, for sure. Good for you, man. How about you, Ryan? Same thing?
Yeah. Yeah,
Same old
just
stuff.
looking forward to forgetting
feel
about
like-
the grind for a while.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Mike, you're finishing up the week and then you're on
Yeah.
vacation?
Looking forward to a break, baby.
Nice. Oh, it's good. I hope people get some extra time off during this time of year. I actually have a half day tomorrow and then off till 2023. So that'll be kind of nice.
Very nice.
Wait, you have a half day tomorrow and then not
And I'm done.
nice.
Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to
That's
it.
like exactly what I'm
used
planning on doing.
Any of my vacations, so I was just like, whatever. I'll toss it all up towards the end here, and I mean, it worked out good. Oh, is it that? That's the phone. So I want to keep it close because it's the Wi-Fi. So, there, he knows what he's doing.
Yep.
Look at that.
It's got it.
He's got it. He's on top of it. I don't know why-
All off camera.
yeah.
So it was a good thing that we narrated it
Yeah,
for everybody.
he did such a good job being quiet and made no it was perfect.
Hey,
He did
that's
such a
that's
good-
that production pay right there.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh, I forgot about that.
Did
Moving on.
Did you get a raise or something? Like,
No.
what's going on here?
I'm waiting for that year-end bonus,
Yeah.
though, Sam. I think I made the most episodes.
I would say you did. For sure.
We have profit sharing, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got yours in the mail,
Excellent.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I sent those out.
Was it a bill or was it?
It was a bill. Yeah,
Okay.
you
It
guys
was
owe me
definitely a bill.
a little bit for beer.
A little bar tab?
Yeah.
Yeah, it said this is not a bill. Didn't believe it. It's definitely a bill.
Revenue sharing negative.
Exactly. Let's real quick get into our beer intros today. We're obviously at DeHop's Brewing Company Cafe, probably for the last time for at least a while. Everybody knows that they've been closed for going on 3 months now. It's been a while.
At
They went through
least.
some staffing stuff. They're trying to get it figured out.
Going on forever. Are they done?
I mean, this is kind of the last little bit of our agreement that we had for the official brewery, State of My Sports. So, cheers to the hops, I guess. I don't know, but we're drinking the premium lager. So they're in cans over here, so we thought that would probably be the best way to go. 4.5% alcohol by volume. We've all done this one before. It's good beer. But Micah, you're drinking Juicy Ball, right?
Yeah.
That's a good, flavorful, fruity IPA.
Juicy IPA, baby.
Juicy IPA. So
Yep.
that's what we're drinking today. We're going to get into some Lions talk. You guys ready to do this?
Do it.
All right.
If it's craft beer in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake. This is State of My Sports.
Going back a couple weeks now, the Detroit Lions hosted the Minnesota Vikings with a chance to clinch the playoffs. The Vikings had the chance to clinch the playoffs and the division, but the Lions shut them down. They beat them 34-23 behind an incredible passing game led by Goff. From start to finish, the Lions never trailed, and they scored early in the fourth quarter to extend their lead 21-13. From 21-13 to 28-13, and pretty much sealed the deal. It did kind of come down to some plays towards the end, but really the game was never in doubt, which was pretty exciting. Goff was 27-39 for 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, and again took care of the football. DJ Chark led the way with 6 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown. St. Brown, 6 catches for 68. Reynolds, 5 for 21 and a touchdown. And then Jamison Williams got his first catch and touchdown of the game with the 41-yard touchdown
of his
pass
career, right?
Of his career, yeah.
First catch of his career.
First catch. And, man, that
goes
was
for a touchdown, baby.
I didn't really want to. I don't want to dig too much into this game. I don't think it's worth it. I mean, we've talked about, or we're going to talk about where we're at now more than anything. But there was just some points in this game that I think we needed that we don't want to bypass, if that makes sense. The game was really fun. It really was. The Vikings, the Lions showed up and did an incredible job. And the way that I really looked at this game was, it felt like there was so many SOL moments that were just kind of killed. You know what I mean? Like, as soon as it looks like it's going bad, they made a play. They made the difference. They killed SOL one play at a time. And really, I thought the first time that the first moment of that was it was 4th and 6. So the Lions got the ball first. They didn't score. They hold the Vikings right back. They hold them to a 4th and 6. They punted away. Lions were offsides. 4th and 1. I want to say it was around the 50-yard line. So it was like a good opportunity for the Vikings to be like, all right, 4th and 1, let's make them pay for this. They go for it on 4th down, and the Lions stopped them. That's the exact opposite of what we're used to. That's the exact opposite of what same old Lions is. And that was just like awesome to see that, because the way that I think it was Okuda that came in and made that play too, which is another cool part of it.
Wasn't it?
Or was
Mike,
it Deshaun?
Mike, man, I'm gonna find it. I was just about to.
I
look
might
for
be
it.
getting games confused at this point, but it's hard when that happens. But just the way that they shut the door, got the ball back, they ran the ball in the very next play, and then Jameson Williams got the touchdown 2 plays later, which was it was so cool the way. And look, it was a blown coverage. Obviously, that got Jameson Williams open, but Goff hit him. Jameson Williams really had a good time celebrating that touchdown. And we're going to try something a little different here. We actually got the highlight of it in the call. So I'm going to, John, if you can pull that up here. Yeah, that one right there. See if we can get might got to rewind it, actually, now that I look at it. Yeah, rewind that to the beginning. And I'll jump over and hit play. See if we can get the sound. Got to hit play, I think. But, this is the play here. Play
Second
action.
down and 5 off the fake to Jamal Williams. Goff going deep, wide open, touchdown on his first NFL reception. The rookie out of Alabama, Jameson Williams.
Celebrated hard, man.
Yeah, he earned it, man.
Yeah.
After everything
he
we just went through. Oh yeah.
I don't like that he ran away from his teammates that were just chasing him all down.
Oh, I don't care. He was just pumped.
It didn't bother you that he ran away from his teammates?
Nah, he's a team guy.
I hope so. Those wide receivers usually aren't. So no, but it was so cool that he was the one that kind of opened the game up that way, take the early lead, and it was kind of it felt like after the 4th down stop to get that play, to get a touchdown, was pretty freaking cool. A second moment that I thought was SOL killing was 7-7 midway through the second quarter. On 3rd and 11, Justin Jefferson made that play on Okuda. Really good route and stuff, but he had to come back and get that ball and ended up being a yard short of the first down marker. Crucial moment there in the game. They reviewed it. And as soon as, I think it's O'Connell, right? That's their coach's name. When he challenged it, I was just like, all right, it's obviously not a first down, but what are they going to do to change that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not really something that the Lions can control, but those are the plays that we're so used to being like, yeah, we're going to get screwed over some way in this call. There's going to be a loophole of why he gets the first down, why he doesn't. And he didn't, which was really cool. And then he kind of built off of that. It was a nice punt return by Raymond in that play. And then the very next play was the 48-yard touchdown to Chark. So it was like the way that these two key moments happened, and then it ends up with a quick score. I love the way that this team's playing. I love the way that they're not letting those moments get the best of them. They're not letting those moments define their game. They're define their season, at least where we're at right now.
Well, and I think everything that they were doing early on in the season, where maybe it looked like desperation or it wasn't, very well timed or something from a coach's perspective, we're seeing the benefits of that right now. We're seeing where the players feel free to go play the game in an aggressive manner without the repercussions of getting taken off the field because they're just reckless. Like the coaching staff has trust in their players. And they've been saying from day one, no, go do your thing. You got to play fast. You got to play aggressive. We trust you. Go ahead. We're going to give you a leash. Mm-hmm. And so, like, going back to the first fourth down that we brought up, 4th and 1, the Vikings wanted to make them pay. I think it was either Okuda or Mike Hughes, but I know Mike Hughes 2 or 3 times in that game did the same thing where, your cornerback is flying through the defensive line because he gets an early read on a run and completely takes out Dalvin Cook and blows up the play. Those are the kind of things that matter, right? Because if you don't have that confidence, if you're second-guessing yourself, you're not going to play downhill, you're not going to play with that speed, you're not going to make the big play in the big moment. So instead of second-guessing yourself, you're trusting that on the backside, somebody's got your back, behind you, and then you can be aggressive and go do your thing.
Yep.
So all of the things that maybe fans were frustrated with early on, part of that process, the maturity process of this team, we're reaping the benefits of it right now.
Yep, agree. Another SOL killing moment was the forced fumble that Buggs and Joseph had. So Buggs actually forced the fumble. Joseph picked it up. So the Vikings were inside the 5-yard line late in the second half, and it was just a crucial moment. I think it was 14-7 maybe. It was a close game still.
It was, yeah.
And they tried. I don't know what they were doing. It looked like it was almost like a halfback pass. Like
it
he
was
going to do that jump pass.
Oh, yeah.
I forget who it was, knocked their tight end off his route a little bit, made him second guessing. He's ready to throw, and we forced the fumble. And it's just that's not what the Lions do. Yeah, they ended up going and missing a field goal. That sucked. A 47-yarder with 13 seconds left. And then the Vikings looked like they were about to put some points up, but we got off the field with another sack, which was cool how it went from really good to we missed an opportunity to another opportunity for them to double up. You know what I mean? Like try to score before halftime and then do it again in the second half. The fourth SOL killing moment, 4th and 7 from their own 26-yard line. I think this was the first drive of the second half for the Lions. 4th and 7 on your own 26-yard line. And they do a fake punt. And CJ Moore ran it for 42 yards. It was I just thought of the cojones that Dan Campbell has to make that call, or just that the team. I should probably give the special teams coordinator a lot of credit with that because they're looking for a certain read, and as soon as he got it, to go for it then, and for him to give them the leash to go for it in that situation is pretty sweet. And it was awesome. Like, he ended up being our leading rusher with that one run.
Yeah.
And then we got the number 33. It was another Williams. I don't even know who he is, to be honest with you. Got the taunting penalty after the fact, but it didn't set him back. They just went down, continued 13-play, 7-minute, 4-second drive, and finished with a 5-yard touchdown to Reynolds. They didn't let that penalty knock him out of field goal range and then just sulk in the corner. They went out and backed him up for his stupid mistake of doing it. That's kind of what this game was to me. It felt like exercising so many demons, and it was just like they are literally, every time that their back's against the wall, every time it looks like things are going to go bad, they stop. And I feel like they've done that over the last several weeks. But this game, it just kind of really stood out to me. And then the 5th and final one on the last offensive drive, 3rd and 7 at the 2-minute warning. This is just it's not really a same old Lions killing moment, and I get that, but it was just an unbelievable play call. And for it to work when they put Penei Sewell in motion, and they've been setting this up for several weeks. They've been putting him in motion. They've put the other big extra lineman that when they bring in, they put him in motion. They run the ball, constantly running the ball. And all of a sudden, this was their chance. They set it up so many times, and sure enough, I mean, we actually have that as a clip too, the Penei Sewell one. I think we should pull that up because this one's just incredible.
In motion is Sewell. Goff to throw. Wants to throw it to Sewell. He caught it. Penei Sewell with first down. Oh,
He swiped that one. I was a little nervous for that.
31-yard line. Oh, that is beautiful. 10 yards. Penei Sewell with the grab. First down, Detroit Lions.
Ben Johnson, you are my hero. Yes. Getting the big fella
Got the big fella.
I love it. He went in motion. Did you see that speed with the big fella coming
How about
across?
those hands?
Thank you. Ben Johnson, I love you.
Can you replay that, actually? I want to watch. The way that Sewell is moving and then catches that ball.
The slap. Watch.
The big
Get out of my face. That's my favorite part of that.
Yeah, he didn't get a penalty.
Bad, dude.
That is beautiful.
Oh, it's so good.
Man, these clips right here, like, have made. Yeah.
Dan Miller.
Yes, with Dan Miller and Lomas Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I
these guys.
love those.
Watching this after the game, the Lions will post like their clip of the day or something. It just it seriously makes my day the next day when I get to watch that.
Same.
It's so
it
much
gives
fun
me
to
chills
watch.
listening to those calls. Honestly, like Dan Miller, I've loved him for I used to listen to him all the time, and now usually I watch, but when I'm driving from one place to another and I can listen, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, because
he
you know
is
you're going to be able
so
to watch
good.
what you hear later on.
Yeah.
You're going to find the highlights and as much as you can see.
Yeah.
But man, they
But
do
the
such
way
a good
that
job.
they do the play and the them in the booth.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so. And honestly, all right, I'm gonna go a little geeky here, but have you noticed all of the spotters and stuff pointing
yeah.
at stuff, and he's pointing, and he writes on a sticky note. He's 51 yards, and he's
he shows it to him, and it's immediately he includes it in his mid sentence. It's a lot of skill there.
It is so cool to watch those. I love it. But just that play in general was such a fun way to put the game away for the most part. They did end up kicking a field goal a little bit later in that with just a few seconds left. So that was kind of what put it. It was a 49-yarder. So he missed earlier. What would I say? 47. They sent him out there when it mattered the most. Up 8, put this game away or punt it and give them the ball. And he decided to kick the field goal. He barely got it, but. Yeah. I mean, it's a fun moment. Little bit about the stats there. I already talked about Goff. C.J. Moore led the way on the ground. I think that's a little concerning, but when you're set up to throw the ball, you were against the Vikings, don't want to lose any sleep over a bad rushing game, I guess. Jamal Williams had 16 carries for 37 yards, but C.J. Moore, like I said, led the way. But the way they spread the ball around was pretty impressive. You had Chark with 6, Amon-Ra St. Brown with 6, Josh Reynolds with 5, you had Jameson Williams with 1, Khalif Raymond with 2, Swift, Zielstra 2, Justin Jefferson, Penei Sewell with 1. So, I mean, just they're spreading the ball around so well. And it seems like they're doing it early in the game. They're getting everybody involved early so they don't lose them during the game, which is pretty cool. On a negative side, Kirk Cousins threw the ball all over, 31 of 41, 425 yards, and 223 of those to Justin Jefferson. Without Okudah, he was kind of in and out of that game, mostly out after the first quarter. But that was a little concerning. You don't like to see that. But it is what it is. And it seemed like they were going to say, somebody else, you're going to get yours, but you're not going to beat us. Somebody else better beat us. And they didn't have any response, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Jefferson's been doing that to every team he's lined up against all season long. So you can't take that with too much, grain of salt there. But keeping him out of the end zone, keeping him from making the big plays, the game-changing plays, is what we did. We didn't contain him, but we minimized his impact on the field.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, in a nutshell, just winning that game the way that they did was pretty cool. They dominated one of the best teams in the NFC. Right? They're in the NFC. NFC.
They're in our division.
I know, but that's something that I've never been able to.
Big rival.
I always second guess if I'm right with the NFC AFC thing. I don't know why. I know we're NFC. We're NFC North. I know that, but when I say it out loud, I want to just protect myself. So, thanks. Thanks for that.
Just say NFL.
I mean, if we need to talk about it, we can get through this together.
I do want to move on to Sunday. The Lions went back to MetLife Stadium. This time they faced the 7-6 Jets, with both teams looking to keep their playoff hopes alive. It was a very hard-fought game, not pretty, back-and-forth game that ended with a missed 58-yard field goal by the Jets for the Lions to get the huge road win 20-17 and get back to 500 at 7-7. The game started out with a crucial moment on drive 1 when the Lions' 14-play, 8-minute drive ended at the Jets' 2-yard line after Jamal Williams was stopped at the goal line on 4th down. I personally believe it was the right decision. I don't want to second-guess that. And it kind of paid off because the defense did their job. They held them to, I think, negative 1 yard in that drive. And here I am losing my spot. So they ended up forcing the punt. Khalif Raymond took it back for a 47-yard touchdown. The Lions looked to be taking at least the punt return for a touchdown was really what made that worth going for it on 4th down. It was you set yourself up defensively. Like you're not going to get a better punt than that. So I'm okay with going for it. Did you like that, going for it in that situation?
Yeah, I think it was the right call. Especially in that kind of a game. It was the weather. That game was such a weather-dependent type of outcome. We knew it was going to be lower scoring. It took them 8 minutes to get down the field. You're not going to get those too many times in one game.
Yeah.
So try to capitalize while you're down there, and it turned out well in the end. But again, this goes back to the same old Lions. That could have been a backbreaker and a big momentum swing very early on in the game with the previous regimes, or really in the Lions' history.
Yeah.
It seems like those kind of things derail the team, and instead it turned into a massive swing back in our direction with the defensive stand, the punt, and then the touchdown. I mean, we got the points in the end.
Yep, exactly.
But it actually probably meant more than just a long drive.
Yep, I agree with that.
Because they capitalized on it.
Yep, I agree. The Lions looked to take it looked like they were going to take a 10-7 lead into halftime, but kind of bad clock management drive. They punted. Then the Jets got down the field pretty quickly and tied the game at 10 and had a chance to double up kind of the last score of the first half.
I've got a question about the clock management. You can finish your thought, but why do you think it was bad?
Because of how it worked out. I think it was going okay. Like it wasn't necessarily wrong, but you gave him that chance to get the stop.
Yeah.
I guess it felt like you could have.
So
you could have drained a little bit more.
I'm noticing a pattern with Dan Campbell, and it's all about options. So what's important for him is the flexibility to do what he wants based on the situation of the game. So what some coaches will do is have their plan for what they're going to be doing, whether that's like kicking a field goal and exactly how much time they need per play, and they'll have that kind of pre-planned out in their head, and that's the way they coach. Whoa, that exploded on you.
Yeah, it did.
But what we're seeing out of Dan Campbell is that he prioritizes options. So he gives himself enough time if they need to go for a touchdown, and then he also doesn't want to give the other team too much time. It might result in some time, but not enough to capitalize too much. So my message to the Lions fans is get used to it. This seems to be his strategy.
Yeah, and when it's I guess when you're getting the turnovers or holding a team, stopping them on third down, on fourth down, getting the ball back. What I've been impressed with is how quick Detroit wants to score. Years past, you get a turnover, you stop the other team, it's always been 3 and out. Whether it's 3 incomplete passes or they try to scare the team and fake them out and they run the ball 3 times and they turn the ball over. It keeps the momentum in their favor, keeps those drives alive. I just like where the offensive play calling is coming from right now.
Yeah.
Mixing it up and mixing in these little trick plays every now and then. And taking advantage of those situations.
Yeah, it does seem like he's thinking even further than a lot of people even will. You know what I mean? Like he's not thinking about necessarily using up a clock to get the last score every time. He's thinking, all right, well, if we don't score and they get a quick score, we will have a certain amount of time to maybe score again.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like even thinking of, and I hate saying this, but like if the worst were to happen, we're still going to be in position to answer that before it's too late.
It's like the basketball 2-for-1 concept where if you have 30 seconds left or maybe 35 seconds left, get a shot up.
Yeah.
Try to get some points out of this because the other team's going to get another possession either way.
Yep.
Right? So you leave enough time for you to get one more. Options. Again, I think you'll see that at the end of the game, at the end of the half, even starting with 5-6 minutes left in the half of the game. Those kinds of that's the pattern I'm noticing is that he's leaving himself some time to figure it out.
All right. So they had the opportunity to go back to back with the field goal. They got the ball first, but Kirby Joseph got the INT and set up the Lions to retake the lead 13-10, which they held until really 4 minutes and 42 seconds left.
Wasn't it Jerry Jacobs?
Yeah, it was. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry. When the Jets took the lead 17-13. With just over 4.5 minutes left, the Lions picked up a 3rd and 2, and then were allegedly stopped on 3rd and 7. So, did you think that was a terrible spot?
Terrible.
I was
terrible spot.
Furious that he wasn't challenging that call.
Me too.
Until what happened next. John, you better hurry. You got that Twitter thing to come up here soon. We got a highlight.
We could talk. I can.
No, I get it. Yeah, we'll get it at the end there. But yeah, they picked up a big 3rd and 2 early on in that drive. But then that 3rd and 7, I thought they picked it up. I was kind of ticked that he didn't challenge it. And then when it went down to the 2-minute warning, I was wondering, all right, now that it's at 2-minute warning, does the booth call that a challenge, or is that something that the Lions would still have to do since it was before the 2-minute warning? I was going back and forth. I fully expected them to challenge it coming out of that commercial, but they didn't. They lined up for it.
Too.
They lined up for it on 4th and 1. When Ben Johnson dialed up, another great play call that looked like it was supposed to be to St. Brown first. It looked like he was clearly the number 1. But then Brock Wright, Goff did say that he is the number 2 in that. Brock Wright was.
Yeah.
And they got it to him. He slipped out uncovered for a 4-yard catch, and then he took that an additional 47 yards to the end zone to retake the lead. The Jets picked up a 3rd and 19 and a 4th and 18 to get to the Lions' 40-yard line when time expired. They put a second back on the clock for the Jets to attempt a 58-yard field goal. Really good, same old Lions type moment, but it didn't happen when the 58-yard tying field goal wasn't even close.
Did you think that was going in, or did you actually? Because I didn't.
I didn't think
but
so.
I should have thought that it was going in when it was 66 yards or 67 from Justin Tucker a couple years ago.
I knew it was going in.
I knew it was going in too.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, he's gonna make this. This is a total Lions moment.
This
here.
one I was I wasn't nervous.
I wasn't either.
It was and that's really weird.
Yeah. It's just what the difference of this game.
Yeah.
Or of this team, I guess.
Team,
compared to, yeah.
So that miss secured the Lions' 6th victory in 7 games. John, we talked a little bit about that Brock Wright touchdown, man.
All right, but going back to the 4th down attempt early on in the game, did not get the touchdown, first
Jamal
one at
Williams,
the goal line,
yeah.
Jamal Williams. That set up this play. So we saw the Penei Sewell play last week. We've seen some of these play action passes with 4th and 1 critical type of situations.
Yeah.
If you never run the ball, they won't respect your ability to run the ball in those situations.
Mm-hmm.
So going forward on 4th and 1 at the goal line, handing it off to Jamal Williams, and they did it another time with 4th down with DeAndre Swift actually.
Yeah.
He picked it up on those 4th down situations. They had to sell out against the run. They had to because they've established that was their pattern of that game. And then he broke pattern. The swing back, opposite directions. Awesome. Yeah, swing past, and that dude can run. Brock Wright can run.
I was shocked
now,
the way that
when he started turning directions near the goal line, I'm like, why did you stop running? Like, keep going.
Yeah, so I think
but he's fast in a straight line.
I think that's our last one here for the highlight that we had, which I think it's gone well. I think this might be a new thing that I'm going to do pretty much. It's going to be like half the podcast is just highlights.
That's what people want.
So
that's what I want.
Again, we got the Dan Dickerson call, Dan Miller.
He's a classic too, though.
Dan Miller call here, which is awesome.
So here we go, 4th and about a foot for the Lions, just shy of midfield. Goff up under center, Justin Jackson alone back. Goff's gonna throw it, back and looking, throws wide open left side. Brock Wright with it, to the 30, Brock Wright 25, Brock Wright 20, cuts back at the 10, to the 5, to the end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions! Oh my, 51 yards! Goff to Brock Wright, and the Lions are back in front.
I love it.
The stat guy.
Baby, how big is that?
This guy's my favorite. The guy at the bottom.
Yeah, he's not allowed to say a word.
He just sits there in silence. Then he says, "Sorry, look at the highlight here." He points at it all the time.
So here we go.
I want to watch it again. Sorry.
I'd be the worst stat guy ever. I could not write that fast.
First thing, Justin Jackson was in the game. Didn't realize that.
Left side. Brock Wright with it to the 30. Brock Wright 25. Brock Wright 20. Cuts back at the 10 to the 5 to the end zone. Touchdown Detroit Lions.
He was running.
Oh my! 51 yards. Goff to Brock Wright, and the Lions are back in front.
A fist pump
Yeah.
when he read it.
So I was out
He's
to
like-
eat. I was out to eat with some friends, Justin and Erica. And as this is going, I'm going to show you guys. You guys can explain it. But I'm like sitting watching the game, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, here we go. And I'm just like, this is awesome. Like, I just lost it in the middle of the restaurant. And I
Wait,
probably
you set up
shouldn't
for a
have.
field goal attempt?
I literally kicked, luckily nobody was at the table when I was by us because I would have kicked them in the face probably.
Luckily,
Got
I
my
didn't,
leg really
I didn't
high.
pan that camera.
I know, right? I think I hurt my back, too. No, I'm just kidding.
Were you the only one
Bedridden.
that excited?
I was the only one that excited, yeah, but you're not surprised about that. But there was somebody behind me that was, clapping, and they were, kind of cheering. I gave them a high five, which was fun. But
What restaurant did you go to?
We were at Hopcat
Oh, nice.
on not downtown one, the other one.
Beltline.
Beltline, yeah.
Naps Corner.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That was my first time there.
I've
liked
never
it.
been to that one.
Yeah, it was nice. It was good. Good stuff.
So, Brock Wright, did anybody else feel like he was just going to fall over backwards as he was running by the end there? Like,
yeah.
Such a straight back, like curved even. I thought he was going down. I thought he was just going to like heels forward.
Yeah, it was so cool. The fact that he was
wanted it
that
so
wide
bad.
open just shows that they baited him. They baited him with previous calls from probably week 5. You know what I mean? Like, that's when it all started. This play started at week 5. And I feel like that's what they're doing. That's one thing that I think Ben Johnson's doing a great job at, is setting up different scenarios. And the fact that Justin Jackson is the running back in that scenario is interesting. Not that I'm questioning that call, because I love what he's doing, but it's just like they're just throwing guys out and making everybody an option there.
Yeah.
Something that you couldn't see in the video, but in that play was, I think it was DJ Chark. He was on the left side of the line, and then he kind of like, he pushed everybody upfield in kind of the opposite direction of it, because he was a threat straight up the middle. So it was just a really well-designed play, and to make Brock Wright get that wide open, I don't even think he ended up having to pretend to block somebody. He was like, nobody was even there for him. Just kind of like, okay, I'm just, here I am.
Yeah, I mean, he slipped it and then left, but nobody was around. Nobody followed him at all. He was
and then
just
to
on his
have
own.
that much space, like, it's not like you're getting crazy blocking downfield from wide receivers. That's just because everybody was on the other side of the field. They thought Penei Sewell was getting the pass, I think. Something like that.
They probably did.
Something crazy.
Probably
like
reported.
But look, this was the definition. This was the first game that I look back and I'm like, that was a Dan Campbell gritty win. They didn't have their A game. The situation that they were in against a good defense with the Jets, outfield or outside, cold weather, windy, not their best football, but they still found a way to win. And I think that was really the first time that they've had to do that, because during this win streak or whatever you want to call it, 6 or 7, they've kind of blown teams out. They beat teams. You've had a couple games with the Bears was close, Packers was close, to an extent, but like this one they had to fight their way through it. They weren't necessarily the better team that day, but they still found a way to win, and it's fun to see that. You need those wins.
Well, I think if you look at what they did to earn those wins, it goes back to what they preach about and what they've invested their money in high draft picks in. It's the defensive and offensive line. So Jared Goff didn't get sacked all game. He did
2 straight games, I think.
Yeah, he did have some pressures against him. We saw that, especially later on in the first half.
Yeah.
There were some pressures, but they didn't get there. And so the offensive line is still doing their job. They're winning that battle consistently, especially down the stretch of the game when it mattered most.
Mm-hmm.
The defensive line, I don't know how many sacks they had, but maybe 4?
I think it was 4, yeah.
I mean, they won that battle too, right? They got there when it mattered most, and the other going up against a quarterback that is maybe shaky in his decision-making, but they're putting that pressure on. That's when you get those bad decisions, when he chucks the ball up in the air, gets lucky, and somebody catches it. Like those kind of moments, like he got away with that one, but those only happen when pressure's applied. And so they were consistently getting there. I thought Aiden Hutchinson had another great game. I thought overall their pressure with Romeo Okwara, it was great to see him out there producing. I mean, it was just that whole line just seems to be getting more and more flexible and more working as a better unit as we go. Yeah,
going back to Goff a little bit. So he was 23 of 38, 252 yards and a touchdown. Again, took care of the football. There was a key moment where he underthrew Jameson Williams just by a little bit, not a ton. He said he got it out a little too late. He didn't underthrow him. He just got it out later than he should have. So it ended up being an underthrow because of timing more than arm strength, I guess. Was probably his defense. But after that throw, I feel like he got very uncomfortable, very unsure of himself. That was the first time we've seen him look this uncomfortable in a long, long time, in my opinion. Little concerning, but to get out of it when your quarterback's not playing his A game, that's a great thing. But then Swift, 8 of 52, led the way on the ground. Williams, 33 yards on 13 carries for a 2.3 average. Last week, he only had a 2.5 average. And then this week, we had it. Jamal Williams Does it seem like he's starting to slow it down a little bit? Are you a little concerned about what's going on with this run game, or is it just kind of
the
way that the offense is being played right now?
Yeah, it reminds me of early on in the season. It reminds me when Swift was healthy, and we weren't planning on him getting any yards at all. He was more of a specialty type of back, and he's overachieved this year. He's picked up a lot of slack for other guys being hurt, and maybe he just needs a breather. 3 weeks where he's not the guy that we rely on a play in play out basis.
But I mean, last week against the Vikings, he had 16 carries. This week, 13.
Yeah.
So it's like he's still getting the bulk of the carries.
But you're not seeing him on the field. But you're not seeing him on the field the whole time either. So I mean, people look at touches so much, but in those passing scenarios where you need your running back to come up, I mean that dude lays some hits on people.
Yeah.
On linebackers when they're blitzing, like he takes pass protection really seriously. So he is not. I've just noticed that Justin Jackson's seen more time. DeAndre Swift is healthy, and he's getting back more of those reps too.
Yeah.
Like the workload is being shared. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It just means that later on you're going to have more healthy and more guys available, later on in the year.
Mm-hmm. I don't really know where I was going to go here. But the offense taking care of the football is so big right now, and I don't remember the last time we've turned the ball over, and I love that. And Goff's the first one that you got to praise, because it's not only is he not fumbling the football, not throwing interceptions, is every single time he throws the ball, nobody else has a chance to get their hands on it. It's not like he's had missed throws that could be picked off and people are dropping. I don't even remember the last time that's happened. He seems to be taking care of the football even without the interceptions and stuff like that.
It's very, very J.J. McCarthy.
I think that's a good way to say it. Yeah, he's throwing.
Honestly.
Yeah, I think that's really good, because I brought that up with JJ. It's like he's throwing it. Yeah, he might be overthrowing this guy by a couple inches, but
it's better than underthrowing.
Yeah, and it being a chance for someone else to get the hands on it. John, you were going to say something?
I believe they didn't throw in Sauce once in that game. So that tells me that not only is he trying to limit the opportunity for interceptions, he's going away from it and adjusting, and other guys are stepping up when they're not covered by somebody's number one and maybe arguably the best cornerback in football right now.
So does Sauce Gardner travel, or is he just kind of one side of the field type player and kind of shutting it down that way? Do you know much about him yet?
I believe he sits on one side of the field.
Okay.
He can do both. Yeah, but they've kind of used him as a one-side guy so far. And they've used him as a number one guy too, so he'll line up against the other guy's number one. But it makes sense. Like DJ Chark was the guy that he was lined up against for the majority of this game.
He only had one catch for 18 yards.
Right, and so when if you're a Lions fan, you're saying you're going to take out the best cornerback with maybe one of your average wide receivers. I would say that's a good trade.
Yeah.
If you're the Jets and you're saying you're taking away DJ Chark for the entire game, I would accept that too, because you're like, okay, yeah, I mean, you just eliminated one of their good options, especially down the field. Yeah, that's true, except that our wide receiver room is getting deep.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Jameson Williams, he was wide open for that touchdown.
Yeah, he was.
And Goff did underthrow him, and maybe he had his reasons and everything. But I think, once that connection gets a little bit more understood, and Goff can maybe have that feeling of, all I have to do is overthrow this dude and he'll run underneath it.
Yeah.
Watch out, because then a guy like Sauce Gardner isn't going to have as much impact, because you're going to have to pick your poison there.
Yeah, 8 different people had a catch. So, they're spreading the ball around, and that's coming after a game that they had, I think, even 9 the week before against the Vikings. 3, 4, 5.
To your point, though, I mean, compare Jared Goff's game against Zach Wilson's game. And, we're talking about a young gunslinger type of guy who doesn't have confidence right now, and he's going through all kinds of stuff mentally, benched, coming back. How many of those plays over the middle did Zach Wilson kind of fire, and you see the talent, you see the ball rotation, you see the drop down, looks like a shortstop throwing over the middle and everything, and then he's off by a little bit, and the ball sails 20 more yards, and everybody's looking behind like, oh, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
And it's like it's an impressive feat almost, because you see the raw talent, but at the same time, like, man, is there anything more dangerous than missing the guy over the middle and having the ball travel 20 more yards when any defensive guy could randomly be there?
Yep,
you don't see that out of golf right now. You just don't see it.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect reason why if you're not in the keep Goff camp yet, you should probably look at what some of these other young quarterbacks are doing, because that's not always the answer.
Yeah, even a guy like Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. It's like it's taken him some time to get used to it and understand. Now, would I take Trevor Lawrence over Goff right now? Yeah, probably. But you're going to go through those bumps and bruises that you're not really getting with Goff that much right now, at least. I mean, we'll see.
And we don't need to turn this into a Jared Goff conversation fully.
Yeah.
But I think the real argument from any reasonable person is not whether you keep Jared Goff. You keep him because of what he means to this team right now.
Yeah.
The real question is, do you draft the next guy to learn from Jared Goff right now, and use that asset?
Yep.
You know, that's the real question, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And we'll have plenty of time to talk about that.
Yeah, even though I want to right now, but we're not going to. Say no, Sam.
Say it again.
We're not going to. All right, the defense really playing well. Deshaun Elliott had a good game, 5 tackles. You had the 4 sacks that we talked about. It was Kaminsky got 1, James Houston got another 1, so he's got at least 1 in his first 4 games, right?
Man, that dude.
Dude, he's got it.
Does he have 5 on the year?
I think so, yeah, which is amazing.
And he's not a full-time guy.
No, he's coming in special times. And then Julian Okwara, right? Julian? Or Romeo? Romeo Okwara.
Romeo had 2.
Had 2 sacks. And that is such a big thing, because what I think this is setting up to do, and I don't get me wrong, I think what Hutch is doing is going under the radar because he's not getting incredible numbers by any means. Like, it's not like he's getting a sack game or anything like that. I think he's at 7 now. I'm pretty sure. Is that correct? So it's not like he's having bad numbers, but like getting Okwara back from injury, having Houston there, it's like you can spell Hutchinson on 3rd downs because you have 2 fresh guys that can come in and just, when it's time to go get the quarterback, go get him. Not saying that that's what they're going to do every time, but they have this rotation, and you can throw different looks at these linemen. They don't know who they're going to go against on these biggest plays because it's just – I love the depth that we have right now at edge and the pass rush.
No, their 3rd down packages, Aiden's lining up on the inside.
I think I saw a stat today that said there's 3 players in the NFL to get 3 sacks in their first 3 games as rookies.
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson, Myles Garrett, and James Houston.
Isn't that incredible?
What?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's so funny.
Whoa.
Like, what James Houston's doing is extremely impressive.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
It might end up being a flash in a pan. I get that. And it might just ride it while you can. And this is...
Well, I'm glad it's in our pan.
yeah, right? That's
not
true.
Against us.
Because we needed it, too.
Keep on frying.
Yep. But I think, just the way the defense is playing, they're very physical. They're physical corners. They get away with a lot of contact. I texted you early in the game. I was like, man, that first drive, or second drive, I guess. I was like, all right, they're going to get some penalties because they're playing extremely physical. And then sure enough, it was like 2 straight defensive penalties in the secondary.
Which I don't even agree with some of those.
I didn't agree with the second one. The first one I thought was legit. But,
yeah. Jerry Jacobs is handsy, isn't he?
He's good,
He's
though.
Grabby. Like,
he is.
He's almost like the savvy vet, even though he's a second-year guy, undrafted.
Yeah.
But he seems like a savvy vet that just knows how to get away with all that stuff.
They make the other team earn every single inch of that field, and they hit them very, very hard. They are physical. This is the most physical defense for the Lions I've seen in a very long time.
Deshaun Elliott.
Deshaun Elliott. I really like Deshaun Elliott.
Yeah. It's a good signing.
Very bend and not break type play as well, which is awesome. I already talked about Houston. We already talked about Hutch, really, all of in Okwara. But I did want to talk about the run defense here for a second. Buggs, McNeil, they're doing a great job. And the linebackers are playing really lights out. Are they the studs that everybody's going to talk about in this league? No. But they're taking care. They're doing their job, and they're making tackles. And I think that's the biggest difference from what we saw from, let's focus on Anzalone early on this year. All of last year, it seemed like he was just missing guys. He was the one trying to reach for a guy towards the end. He's right there making these tackles. I really like what he's
playing
doing.
like a stud.
He's playing really, really good. And I think the interior linemen are the ones that are making the linebackers look better. You know what I mean? I think what they're doing is impressive. They're taking away lanes. They're allowing the linebackers to not necessarily worry about the middle. And they're allowed to hit the holes. You see Deshaun Elliott in the backfield on these runs because you're seeing Okuda, you're seeing Jacobs, Hughes you brought up.
Yeah.
They're making plays in the backfield because they're not running up the middle against us. Teams are not running up the middle. So I did pull up some stats here. Jets, their leading rusher was Knight. He had 23 yards on 13 carries. The week before, Dalvin Cook, 23 yards on 15 carries. ETN, 54 yards on 13 carries against the Jags. The Bills, Singletary, pretty good game, 72 yards on 14 carries. That's solid. Then you go back to the Giants game. Barkley, 22 yards on 15 carries. Against the Bears, you had Herbert, 57 yards on 10 carries. Montgomery actually had more carries, but Herbert had more yards. So that's why I put him. Going back to the Packers game, he had A.J. Dillon. He led the team in rushing with 34 yards on 11 carries. And then going all the way back to what game is
Dolphins.
that? Dolphins, 64 yards on 14 carries. Like, this is that's a very big sample size. That's 8 games right there. And nobody's hitting 100 yards. That's first and foremost. That's awesome to have. But not only that is they're lower than they're 50 yards, 25 yards.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Shutting them down.
They are. Are they throwing the ball against us? Yeah, some teams are. But when you're shutting down the run, that's when you want teams to kind of throw the ball. You want that to be the only thing they can do. This run defense, I think, is the reason for this massive change in why we went from 1-6 to 7-7. I think that has a lot to do with that.
Plays a huge part, and it allows other people to be aggressive and to maybe read some things going on. Yep. And we've seen turnovers. We've seen the battle of turnovers has completely shifted in our favor here. And we have the longest active streak in the NFL, we being the Lions with a turnover. And so we're generating those turnovers because, and some of that is because other teams are predictable, right? We can kind of settle in on what we know they're going to do, start reading things, and set them up from a defensive perspective, and it's fun.
Yeah, in the 1-6 start, the Lions had a -9 turnover margin. Now, in the 6-1 games in the last 7, +9. So that's such a big difference in this game. They're taking the ball away. They're taking care of the football. I don't think turnovers are a way to, I don't want to live and die by turnovers, because I think even the best teams will eventually have those that hurt them. You know what I mean? Like, have a bad turnover game, and you need to be able to win when you are giving up those turnovers and not getting them. But I'll take it in where we need them right now, and that's what they're getting. They're getting the turnovers. They're taking care of the football. They're just really fun. They're a really fun team. And I just think we need to continue to enjoy it. I haven't sat back and watched these games and been terrified, scared that we're gonna lose, and that's rare. And I'm not gonna let it bother me if they start losing. This right here, that what they've done already is enough for me to be I'm bought in to Dan Campbell. I'm bought in to Brad Holmes and their vision. And you go back to when this team was 1-6 and the owner came out and was like, hey, we got their backs. It might not be popular right now. You had people pissed about that. You had callers into 97 the ticket. You had the hosts on 97 the ticket oh, here we go. Of course, Lions not really reading the room and buying into something that they probably shouldn't. They were right. Sheila Fort Hamp, or whatever they call her now, I don't even know. She came out, backed them up, and now look at how smart they look right now. They haven't won crap yet. They haven't done anything to get us that excited. But when you go 6 out of 7, that's something that you can – it's tangible now. And you see the vision. You see what they're building. You know you have the assets still coming. You have a ton of cap space. It was a step in the right direction. And going back to the Goff thing, you don't have to use a pick on Goff now, or for a quarterback. Where early on in this year, we were like, all right, sign me up. Who are we going to get? Because we're going to have 2 top 5 picks. And now here we are. I don't know. It's just, I'm giddy about it. I am.
Yeah,
it's fun.
There's a lot to be excited about.
You got to keep it going. But what were you gonna say?
Well, I kind of wanted Micah's perspective on this from being a Packers fan, and right now you're chasing, right? You're one game behind the Lions.
Yep.
We have that week 18.
Yeah, week
matchup.
18.
Yeah.
Right.
On the horizon, what's your perspective with how this Lions team, how because the perception that I'm seeing NFL wide is people are excited about the Lions. They're considering them legit, like they're not pretenders anymore. They actually are the team you don't want to face in the playoffs. So what's your outside perspective of this team, and I don't know what's been the change.
What's been the change? I have no idea. I haven't been watching a lot of Lions football, to be honest with you. I think that the Lions, however, are playing good football at the right time, and that's always been the key, right? Everyone gets excited when your team starts off hot. It could be baseball, it could be hockey, it could be football, but it matters how you get hot when you get hot, right? If you get healthy like you guys are doing and you're playing good football towards this part of the season, it's a big deal. It really is. I mean, who's a good example right now in the NFL who started off hot? They're
Giants.
Kind of tailing off.
Giants.
Yeah.
Dolphins.
Yeah.
Jets.
The Jets, the Jags.
Those teams started off hotter they can be, and they're kind of dozing off right now. Not sure what's going to happen, in the next 3 weeks. But, yeah, the Lions right now are playing really good football. Of course they are.
Well, and I don't know, you can't fake this kind of confidence either. At this point, the locker room's bought in.
Yep.
Everybody is together. You don't have the stragglers who are saying they don't believe and well, we'll see when the results come. They have the confidence right now together, and you see it in their post-game locker room celebrations. You hear it when Khalif Raymond sits up there and says, "It's us. I didn't do this. I didn't do anything. It's us. It's us together." And then he says, "Family on three. 1, 2, 3, family." That kind of stuff means that it means something to them. They are a bonded unit at this point. And so we can look to the future all we want, but what we know now is that Dan Campbell has the ability to bring people together. And when we have talked about him being a leader of men, and he's proven that this year, we're seeing the evidence of it. So we can also move past all those other conversations that were just background noise for so long about whether Holmes was doing his job or whether Dan Campbell was the right pick. Because the last time we were all here in DeHops, I remember having that conversation, whether Dan Campbell should be fired or not.
Yeah. It was being talked about.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they have confidence. You can't fake it. They do believe 100% they can play against any team.
I think what we're seeing is, he's a great leader of men, but there's also a method to his madness. He's not a dummy. He's not as dumb as he pretends to be. That was one thing that kind of went viral after the Vikings game so he went on the Pat McAfee show, and he was like, I was just kind of looking up at the fans and watching the waves, and all of a sudden I heard, I'm like, wait, we're throwing a Penny Sewell? I was just looking, pretending like he didn't know what was going on. And then he was he also made the comment, that fake punt, it was I was going to tell him to not run it, but I forgot to click my button to turn my mic on to tell him not to, and then he ends up doing it, and it works. So he's just being a little goof, kind of a caricature of himself, but I think there's a reason why he's doing it. He's okay with people thinking that as long as he has the locker room completely bought in, and they are 100% bought in, like you were saying, Ryan. That's the biggest difference, is this team truly believes that they're showing up with a chance to win, not, we're going to show up and hope to not lose by a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's the Jim Harbaugh of the NFL right now.
I would say he is.
Prove me wrong. Who's as weird and whacked out right now?
I was going to say Oklahoma State's coach is pretty weird. I would say he's more like
Gundy?
Yeah, more like Gundy.
No, we're talking about NFL coaches.
You just...
Yeah, I'm saying...
Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm saying he's more like a Gundy type thing.
Yeah.
Than a Harbaugh, I guess.
I
get what you're saying.
I'm going to go back to what I know. Baseball, when you're hitting, the last thing you want to have is the perspective of this pitcher is hard to hit. You have to approach everything as in I'm a great hitter. This pitcher has to deal with me at this point. And that's the perspective the Lions are coming with right now. Is they walk in and they're not hoping to win. They're not hoping to like play well that day. They're saying you better get ready because you have to deal with us today, and we're a handful. So we're not scared. We're gonna go put it to you.
Mm-hmm. John, can you click that a second? Let's see if we're still recording.
If we're not recording, I'm done. I'm quitting.
All right, we are recording.
Okay. Whew. That was close.
I was going to say we can restart if you want.
Close.
Let's move on to...
I can't recreate this.
Let's move on.
Can't fake this kind of confidence.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. State of My Sports.
I guess I just don't understand why the computer is moving so slow. That's what I don't understand. Like, 'cause the computer is not... Whatever.
This is a website, right? Right here?
Dude, you're
This
gonna
isn't.
tell.
It's just slow.
We're just going to talk some NFL now. I don't know how we're going to do this.
What have we been talking about?
Yeah, that's true. We're going to talk about NFL as a whole now.
Either the NFC or AFC North.
So I want to start with the
One of those two.
NFC?
NFL.
This is no good for me. We're going to start with the AFC. Sorry. So I got the standings here for you guys, but I didn't want to talk about the AFC and throw out some questions for you guys, and then we'll end with the NFC here. But you got the Bills at 11-3 with the Chiefs 11-3, and the Bengals right on their heels at 10-4. Which one of those teams is the best in the AFC to you guys right now?
I mean, I think for me it's the Bills. I think Chiefs have been a little bit more up and down lately with their defense. Their offense is great, but I don't know if they have the firepower that the Bills have. I think Stephon Diggs and their offense, they're hitting their stride. I think their defense can come alive at any point. I think they end up with the number 1 seed.
Yeah. What about you, John? You agree with that?
I think the best team out of those three collectively, when healthy, is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like they've shown too many warts personally. But, I mean, it's hard to argue with a team that was just there, And they surprised a lot of people last year.
I mean, when things are clicking on all cylinders, Joe Mixon is a bona fide NFL running
point.
back.
Yeah,
and
that's
one thing that the Chiefs and the Bills are kind of missing is a go-to running back that can control the clock in the game.
That's actually a really good point.
Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. He's going to make big plays, and as long as he's got his wide receiving core, I think they're just as dangerous as the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, Micah, what about you? Do you
I'm
agree with Ryan with Bills?
I'm going to go Bills 1, Bengals close second, and Chiefs third.
Interesting.
Yep.
I would agree that it's the Bills. I think ever since they lost Von Miller, you're missing a little bit on defense there. We'll see if he gets healthy. Have they ruled him out for the year?
Oh, yeah.
They have? Okay.
ACL tear.
Oh, yeah, obviously he's done then. They're the one I feel like it's just more or less like they have to be, right? Like there's so much there, and then you wonder why it's not so obvious, I guess, right? They're the ones that should be, but I'm not sure it's fair that we just automatically put them number 1 outside of just they're supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Well, they beat the Lions, and that's a hard thing to do these days.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
The only ones to do it in the last 7 games.
All right, so you got the Bills, Bears, Bengals. All right, sorry. The Bills play the Bears, Bengals, and Patriots. You got the Chiefs play the Seahawks, Broncos, Raiders. Bengals play the Patriots, Bills, Ravens. Do you guys think that, Ryan, you already said that the Bills will get the number 1 seed. Do you guys agree with that?
I think the Chiefs will if you look at strength of schedule.
Yeah.
I think, if they come down to have the same record, who owns the tiebreaker there?
So
Is
the
it Buffalo?
Bills
Right.
have it because of
Okay.
head-to-head.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing there.
That Bengals game is a big matchup, though. That'll be a fun game to watch.
That will be fun. And that's, which one is that? The Bills-Bengals?
Bills-Bengals.
Not this week, but next.
Mm-hmm.
Then jump to the AFC wild card. You got the Ravens at 9-5, Chargers 8-6, Dolphins 8-6, and the Patriots and the Jets behind them, both sitting at 7-7. Do you think the wild card teams are set, or will one of the other teams slip in, and who will fall out?
I was distracted by
It's on the sheet.
I was looking at the Pistons.
Did they win?
It's kind of interesting.
No, they lost.
It's kind of interesting though, right? Lamar Jackson's banged up for the Ravens.
Yep.
I still think the LA Chargers are a very, very strong team.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they're kind of getting healthy too.
Finally, right? The wide receivers.
I think it's going to come down to like the Dolphins and the Patriots probably have to play still, right? The division foes.
Yeah, I believe they.
Yeah,
they
do they have one more game? So maybe if the Patriots can pull out a win, maybe that could change things up there for that last wild card. But
yeah,
I don't know. I wouldn't want to play the Chargers if I'm any of the AFC teams right now.
I think the Dolphins are the one that could fall off completely, but then they could go out and beat the Packers on Christmas Day and then be like, oh, well, they're at 9, and then it feels like they just sealed their fate at the wild card. But it's also like one more game, one more loss, and their wheels could just fall off. You know what I mean? That's going to be a really crucial game for them coming up this week. AFC South, you got the Titans leading at 7-7, with the Jags sitting at 6-8, obviously coming on hot right now. Titans have the Texans, Cowboys, and Jags. And then the Jags have the Jets, Texans, and Titans. Who ends up winning this division, and will it come down to that final week?
I think, yes, it comes down to that final week, and I'm pulling for the Jags. Trevor Lawrence.
I think so, too.
I'd rather see them in the playoffs or like fight for a wild card. Well, I guess in the playoffs if you win your division, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get to the wild card round, probably being the lowest seeded division winner.
Yep.
But I think it'd be good for the NFL to get Trevor Lawrence in there, get him a playoff appearance.
Mike, what about you? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jags
division?
too. Titans kind of wishy-washy. Coaching's kind of questionable to me. Texans, obviously, no. Jets are interesting, though. I don't know. But I think I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence, too. He's like the Lions. He's playing good football. Jags are playing good football. They're a well-coached team. I think they have a bright future ahead of them.
All right, moving to the NFC. The big news was Jalen Hurts. He has a sprained shoulder, and will probably miss the next 2 games is what they're saying. With a banged-up Hurts, are the Eagles still the team to beat, or does someone in the NFC pass them?
Gardner Minshew, right? Backup?
Yeah, he's the backup.
I still think they're the team to beat.
Yeah?
Same. I think he's a really good backup quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think they miss a beat.
And they're a really good team.
Yeah, that team
they're
is
built so
that team
well.
is set, yeah.
I mean, who was the Cowboys backup that got some wins there? I think Gardner's
Cooper
better
Rush?
than Cooper Rush, yeah, for
He's
sure.
pretty good.
And
Cooper Rush.
I mean, he's still going to have those weapons at
CMU?
wide receiver and a heck of a run game to lean on. So, yeah, I still think Philadelphia is in a different category.
The NFC South is a mess. You have the Bucs leading the division at 6-8, with everyone else at 5-6. The Bucs have the Cardinals, Panthers, and Falcons. Will the Bucs win this division?
5-8, you mean?
What did I say? Sorry. 6-8.
Is it 5-9?
Is it 5-9?
It's got to be 5-9. I don't think all other teams have
5-9, yeah.
games.
Bucks 6-8. Panthers, Saints, and Falcons are 5-9.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay.
That's crazy. I never would have thought that there would be a 3-way tie in that division for last place. I didn't think the Saints were going to be that good. I didn't think the Falcons were going to be that good, but it just goes to show.
Not.
Yeah, that division is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's crazy how bad it is.
I don't see how the Buccaneers lose that division. I know that they just keep losing their games.
So weird.
But I mean, I don't believe in the Falcons, I don't believe in the Saints, and I don't believe in the Panthers. So what? I mean, something's got to break at some point, right?
It's just funny that you had
lose out.
You had the Cardinals. They moved on from their quarterbacks. They traded Christian McCaffrey. They're right there. You had the Panthers.
Yeah.
And then you have who else is it? Saints, who have been going through that quarterback issue. Like, I think Andy Dalton is still their quarterback right now.
Yeah, Jameis is out.
Yeah,
the Falcons.
And then the Falcons moved on to Ritter.
Yeah, they shut down Mariota for the rest of the year. He's on IR.
Yeah, it's just like, it's insane that this is even a question. I don't understand how the Bucs don't win this division.
I guess if any team's going to compete, it's probably Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I would agree.
They got the best chance to maybe knock the Bucs
But
out of that.
not if the Lions beat them.
Exactly. The Lions are going to win this weekend, so that, lowers their odds. But as long as Tampa Bay keeps losing, I mean, all those teams are still in it for a playoff spot.
Yeah, so then we're going to look at the wild card now. You got the Cowboys basically locked up a spot here. I think they actually have locked up a wild card. They're sitting at 10-4, but still could kind of take over the division if the Eagles don't perform without Hurts. Next, you got the Giants. They're 8-5-1. They have the Vikings, Colts, and Eagles.
3 losses.
Commanders 7-6-1 with the 49ers, Browns, and Cowboys.
3 losses.
You have the Seahawks 7-7, Chiefs, Jets, and Rams.
1 win.
And then you got the Lions with the Panthers, Bears, and Packers. And then the Packers at 6-8 with the Dolphins, Vikings, and Lions.
3 losses.
So, who are your 2 wild card teams outside of the Cowboys that make this NFC wild card?
Seahawks and Lions.
Seahawks and Lions?
And that's if the Rams are trash and maybe they don't play Baker Mayfield that last week, and maybe the Jets are out of it the second to last week statistically, maybe. So they got a chance. I don't know if those games are at home or on the road, but I'm going to go Lions, Seahawks. I think everybody else in that list is.
I think who has the best chance of getting to 9 wins? For me, Giants. All they have to do is beat the Colts right there, and they've got the tie going in their favor as well for that tiebreaker. Lions with two out of 3 of those games, they can win all 3 of them, but they just need 2 to get that to that 9, and then. So I think those are the 2 teams. The Commanders, that'll be tough for them because the 49ers, Browns, and Cowboys, that's a tough schedule to end their year.
It is, yeah.
Seahawks, I don't believe they are going to win 2 out of those 3 with the Chiefs, Jets, and Rams.
I don't feel like they match up well against the Jets.
I don't think they match up well against the Jets or the Rams. They're on a slide right now.
They're look done.
Yeah, they do. So I just don't believe in the Seahawks to even win 1 of those, but much less 2. And Packers to win out, that means you have to beat the Lions, and that's impossible at the moment. So Lions, Giants, those are the 2 playoff.
That's kind of where I'm leaning to. Micah, what do you think?
Definitely Giants. Giants is going to take one of those spots.
Thought he was going to say definitely Packers.
I thought he was too.
Oh my gosh, you guys, come on, man, give me some credit here.
We're waiting.
But leapfrogging them, the Packers.
Yeah, Commanders ain't happening. I still think – I actually disagree with you. I think the Seahawks actually – I think they're going to toast the Rams. You kidding me?
I think they'll toast the Rams, but I'm not sure they win another game outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, Jets is a tough game.
It is. And
yeah,
I should have put down where that one was at because that could play a role too, obviously.
What about the Packers, though? I mean, Dolphins, Vikings, Lions, that's a tough end of
it is
the
a
year
really
schedule.
tough.
That's brutal.
And they're basically a loss away. If they lose to the Dolphins, they're done, right? And then you wonder.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Well,
if they lose, they can only get to 8 wins. They're not going to get in the playoffs for 8 wins.
They need a lot. Yeah, they need everything to go right with 8 wins. They really do need to win out to secure. I think 9 wins gets you to the playoffs in this group.
Yes. I believe that too. That's kind of where I'm sitting. But
okay, I see what you're saying.
If the Packers get to 9 wins and the Lions get to 9 wins, I think the Lions have head-to-head.
Because
they also have the SOV, which is strength of victories.
But look at the
Packers.
Look at the Packers. I mean, if they get to 8 wins, they are already behind the Giants because Giants could lose out and they still are going to have the advantage over them. So that means the Commanders, Seahawks, and Lions all have to have those games go against them for the Packers to make it. It's just asking a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Was anybody else rooting for a second tie this past weekend between the Giants and the Commanders?
No.
I kind of was, yeah. I thought it would have been nice. It would have been a nice wash. Because then it would have been like they both lost a game.
And they both lost to Detroit?
Yeah, because we would have head-to-head against both of them. And then those 2 ties would be like basically just like a loss at that point.
Yeah, half percentage win point.
Yeah. I actually thought about that.
Percentage-wise, does it come out in our favor?
Yeah, it does.
Who were you rooting for yesterday?
For which game?
Because it brings it closer
Packers.
to 500.
Oh, I was rooting for the Packers.
Well, they both would have been 7-5 and 2.
Oh yeah. I'm more focused on, like I'm not worried about the Packers, and I know I'm probably going to eat those words in a couple weeks. Like that's going to make me look like an idiot.
Again, we need to get to 9 wins.
But
Think about it that way.
Last night I was 100% go Pack. Go.
I was wondering. I'm like sitting there in my basement. I'm like, what is Sam thinking?
I want the Rams to lose every game. I was furious when they came back and won that game.
I know
with Baker Mayfield. I was livid. Like I'm focused on them right now, and that actually is a good transition to our Detroit Lions rooting guide. Rooting guide for week whatever week it is. I think it's 15. Yeah, it's 15. Week 15. I think obviously the big one is they got to keep winning. They got to beat the Panthers. That's the most important thing. They're sitting at a 3-point favorite on the road, which is awesome. It feels very winnable, and the way that the Lions are playing, you should go out and win it. Number 2, you got to hope that the Seahawks lose to the Chiefs. Seahawks are a tiebreaker ahead of the Lions, but if they lose to the Chiefs as a 9.5-point underdog and the Lions win, they move ahead of Seattle, and that's huge to do that with 2 weeks left. Rooting guide number 3, you want the Commanders to lose to the 49ers. The tie a few weeks ago between the Giants and Commanders really just kind of hurt the Lions more than anything.
Yeah, big time.
But it kept both of them ahead of the Lions in the moment. But if the Lions it basically washed away their head-to-head that the Lions had over them. But if Commanders lose, Lions win, Lions will jump ahead of them. That's absolutely huge. If those 3 things happen, we'll wake up on Christmas morning with the Lions in the playoffs, which is awesome. You got to hope that. Icing on the cake for number 4 would be if the Giants lose on Saturday to the Vikings. This would allow the Lions to have a chance to jump the Giants eventually with a second loss down the stretch. The Giants are currently a 3.5-point underdog at the Vikings, who locked up the division last week, so it might be a pretty good game, actually. Keep an eye on that one. Number 5, Packers lose to the Dolphins. Sitting at 6-8, they have little less hope than the Lions, but a Roger-led team still makes me nervous, and I just want them to be done. That's the biggest thing. And if they add the loss of the Dolphins there, it would basically eliminate the Packers. And then you wonder if Rodgers will be shut down. He's kind of already mentioned it before they went on this 2-game winning streak that he wouldn't be against getting shut down for the year. So keep an eye on that. The sooner they eliminate her, the better. They are a 5.5-point underdog heading into Miami. You got and then number 6 would be the Rams lose to the Broncos. Both are sitting at 4-10. If the Rams lose, the Lions could get the 3rd overall pick. So you just got to hope that they continue to lose and hope that it doesn't come down to who do they play at the very end? They play the Seahawks. So hopefully,
yeah, we just want Baker to be Baker.
Yeah, basically. So, that's basically where we're at, right?
Yeah,
did I lay that out pretty good?
I like it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a rooting guide.
Look,
rooting guide. It's a tough word.
Don't forget to root for the Lions to win.
That's most important.
Can't root
I did
for
say
all
it's
these
number
other
1.
losses.
That was my number 1. I almost didn't put it on there.
I actually am glad I have this guide, so I know that I want them to win now.
Yeah, now you know, right?
Now I know on Saturday.
This is basically how it lays out. If the Lions win out, they need 1 loss for the Seahawks and a loss for the Commanders, or 2 losses from the Giants. If and when the Lions lose a game, then you need a second loss for the Seahawks and Commanders or the Giants to lose out. So
yeah, I think the easiest way to understand all this is to listen to people talk about it.
Yeah.
There's so much going on. It's complicated. It's a lot to.
It is.
It's a lot to work through.
Yeah. Should I post it? A little rooting guide.
Yeah, so we can read it.
Perfect.
Rooting guide. Number 6.
From the Red Wings to Michigan State, we're talking about it. This is State of My Sports.
We are going to put a bow on the Michigan State football season.
Does the sticky tape on the bottom of the bow still work? It's been a while since
right?
we've had to put that bow on there.
Are we really doing this?
Definitely recycled bow.
Are we doing this?
Yeah, we are.
Are they worth talking about?
Yeah, I'm surprised you used 2 pieces of paper for this season recap.
No, I appreciate all the work you put into this, but was it worth it?
Oh, that's what Peyton Thorne looks like. I've only seen him when he's on the ground against Michigan.
You have brought your team to a high right now with the Lions talk, and now you're about to crash and burn.
Yeah, I thought we were going to talk about Michigan, TCU, or something fun.
That's next week.
Holidays? In between the holidays?
Yeah, man. All right.
Hey,
if you're going to force us to.
Signing off right now.
No, look, I'll be honest. I I watched actually and listened to the season preview for State, and I don't even remember all the names that we were bringing up. I'm like, I was so I had no interest in this team at all. I did not follow the team. I didn't care about the team. They let us know very early on that they were not a legitimate contender in the Big Ten, and I checked out from them really early on. I don't know anything about this team.
They were definitely not the team.
Not the team.
All right. After a very nice 11-2 Peach Bowl winning season for the Spartans, Mel Tucker received a 10-year, $95 million contract extension, beating two of their three biggest rivals, Michigan and Penn State, winning a New Year's Six Bowl, going unranked to finishing 9th in the AP poll. In the fear of leaving for a better program, MSU's boosters stepped up and gave him what he needed to not only stay, but to keep building off the season with an assistant coaching pool of $7.5 million. MSU entered the 2022 season ranked 15th in the AP poll week 1 and jumped up to 11 before their week 3 loss to Washington, losing 5 out of the next 6 games of the season and eventually ending their season not bowl eligible with a 5-7 overall record and 3-6 inside the Big Ten, losing all 3 of their biggest rivals, Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, by a combined 113-43. They did, however, beat Wisconsin at home and a very good Illinois team on the road to give them a chance at a bowl game, only to lose to a 4-win Indiana to kill all of those hopes. It was all in all a pretty up and down season, with the downs very down and the ups really not very up. Is kind of the way I wanted to describe it. During our season preview, we set MSU's ceiling at 10-2 and a floor at 6-6, and we got a lot of heat for that. Like, there was a lot of comments about it, that they were not happy that we put their floor, which I don't think they understand what the definition of a floor is, was at 6-6, and here we are. We were a little too high yet.
Yeah.
So usually the floor is underneath your
I actually
feet.
made a comment during it. I was like, look, if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to admit it. But if you're wrong, you better be right there to apologize. And we didn't get any of those apology comments after the fact. So I don't know.
That's so weird.
I know, right?
Like, be a man.
Cowards.
Yeah.
Heading into the season, the biggest question was how much did Kenneth Walker cover up this untalented team? There were hopes that Broussard and Berger would pair well to replace the productivity, but it did not go well. So Kenneth Walker, the year prior, he had over 1,600 yards. He had 19 total touchdowns, and then you had the two combined for 981 yards and only 9 touchdowns. So it didn't go well. The offensive line, I think, had a big part of that. They didn't do very well. We brought that up heading into the season preview. Was this team will go as far as their offensive line will take them. You have a talented quarterback. You have talented wide receivers. You have guys that can run the football. But the offensive line was, I think that's the biggest thing that Kenneth Walker did, was he made this offensive line that was bad last year, bad again this year, look so much better because of how talented he is. And we're seeing it now. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL. I'm not afraid to say that. He's incredible. And I think that was just a big piece missed, but college football don't build programs off of one player. You never see it. It doesn't happen.
Well, then
you don't build programs. You can have a really good team,
yeah,
but you don't build a program officially. And that's what Michigan State's trying to do, is build a program back up, because what D'Antonio left was nothing. He left them less than scraps. Less than that, probably. Honestly, it was absolutely disgusting what he did to them. And I think Kenneth Walker did some incredible things.
He made everybody around him better. He made the offensive line better by making the first 2 guys miss every single time. Yeah. He made Peyton Thorne better by allowing all those wide receivers around him get open because of the attention that he took. So, I mean, we saw it against Michigan last year when they spanked us on his 5 touchdowns that he had.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Without him, there wasn't a game there, right? So that's where their success came from. Relied on it a little too heavily, and really they didn't have that same creativity of the offense because they didn't have one thing to scare a defense. The defense could do whatever they wanted. They could sit back and beat you by stopping your passing game or your run game because the other side wasn't going to take over.
Yeah, and Thorne was just a really disappointing season for Thorne. He looked very uncomfortable, and he had happy feet. He had it was ugly. It really was. He didn't take control of games in the crucial moments. Instead, he kind of gave them away in those crucial moments. He had some of the worst interceptions at the worst time. He had fumbles, and it was the exact opposite of what we thought. We went into this being like, he might be the second best quarterback in the Big Ten. That was being talked about, and it was the exact opposite. He had a terrible year, and he does deserve the blame. I think the offensive line plays a big part of it, but he needs to be better. So last year, he had over 3,000 yards, 3,232 yards passing. This year, 2,679. He went from 8.3 yards per attempt to 6.9. That's a pretty big drop-off there. Touchdowns. He had 27 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. This year, 19 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. Just a really bad year in general. And one you want to forget. And then Jaden Reed, who was obviously his number one target. He had pretty good numbers he had good numbers last year with over 1,000 yards. Only 636 this year. That's not good. Went from 11 touchdowns to 5 touchdowns. And it's just, when you're not going to be a winning team, that's obviously going to happen. But it shouldn't fall off the way that it did, especially with those players that were supposed to be the reason why you were a quote-unquote contender heading into the year. Well, that's why you were ranked 15th.
You would think that their offensive coordinator would be able to dial up something that would be consistent. Some sort of, you have that many weapons, and they are real weapons on that offense. So how do you not allow Peyton Thorne to get in a groove and hit some easy throws down the field and do what we're seeing out of the Lions right now with how easy and simple that offense moves just by misdirection and like early, confusion that you're causing on the defensive side. It was like the most predictable gameplay calling that you could imagine this year for Michigan State.
Yeah, and I think you said it perfectly by saying easy throws. They didn't set him up for it. Even when it was going well in those few games that it did, it still looked very, very difficult for them. And that was the exact opposite of what it was the year before. And look, there was a lot of 50-50 balls last year that one-on-ones. You're throwing one-on-ones constantly. Well, you didn't have to do that this year because you're not worried about the running game. So it just made it harder for everybody. And that's why he's throwing those interceptions, because he's throwing into double coverage and trying to make things happen because it's desperate to do it. But it wasn't easy. And I think that's a good point with the offensive coordinator, Jay Johnson. It was a disappointing year for them. Do you think it's a time to move on from him, or is that kind of an overreaction? Like, because I've heard Spartan fans talk about you got to move on from the both coordinators.
This is where I wanted to go with this conversation.
Let's do it.
Are you not just in like panic mode or alarmed at all that there are no movements happening right now? I don't expect a hire to be made right now, but I expect Scotty Hazelton to be gone now. Your
I think he
season
should be already gone.
Your season is done. There is absolutely no reason to not make a move or make an announcement right now. Like, are you honestly going to stick with Scotty Hazelton, who is a joke?
Look, I could go either way.
Sorry,
honestly,
I didn't mean to go away from.
No,
the
this is exactly
side.
This is where I wanted to go to. Honestly, in the end here was the coordinators, and $7.5 million pool for your assistant coaches is a lot. You should be expected to pay for good coordinators and get good performance out of your coordinators. Now, this team is very, very. They're hurting for talent. They don't have any talent. So I don't want to pin it on the coordinator necessarily, but the offense should have been better. But also the offense had a very, very bad offensive line. And you look at what Michigan does. They win in the trenches, and then everything else kind of takes care of itself. When you don't have the trenches like Michigan State obviously doesn't have, nothing can take care of itself. You know what I mean? So I look at that as maybe their opportunity is if you can fix the offensive line, what can be fixed outside of that?
Yeah.
But I also, if I was a Spartan fan, I'd be very disappointed in the creativity. I'd be very disappointed in the production, and just using a guy that has experience and is proven to been there, done that in the Big Ten and have that type of performance, I would be okay with moving on as well. So I'm kind of like on the fence, but I don't know. What do you think, Ryan?
I think this is one of those scenarios where I don't think we have enough information to be able to draw a conclusion. That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball?
Yeah. Well, no, I think at some point performance needs to stand for itself. Like you need to be able to react to what's going on. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I'm kind of going with this is if it really depends on Mel Tucker's philosophy here. If he wanted his coordinators to send a message to his team the hard way and say, you do it our way or the highway kind of thing, and say, we're not going to adjust our strategy and game plan because you guys are not equipped. It's because of your lack of this, and this. You need to follow what we're saying. And they're just saying like, oh, you want to try your way? We're going to hand you some losses. Like that there is some message that can be sent from a coach's perspective by doing it that way. Like, no, you listen to us now and you're going to do it our way and we're not going to budge. Now, the other side of that is, are you really going to let your program suffer and not go to a bowl and not do, not see success at all and risk your own job because you're being that hard-headed? I doubt it. So what it probably is coming back to is they're failing to make the adjustments to the talent that they have available to them at the time. I don't believe this is a 5-win team. I believe they're not a Michigan. They're not an Ohio State. They don't have the talent. I think that a lot of teams in the Big Ten had more talent than them, or some of them, but they're in the upper echelon. They're in the top half of talent-wise in the Big Ten. So you're not going to convince me that they're a 5-win team. So there was definitely something wrong with the response or the reaction of this team and their lack of response, their lack of game plan management, based on the tools that they had to work with. Didn't see it. And they just kept getting beat the same way over and over and over again. So where's the halftime adjustments? Where's the second half of the season adjustments? Like, react one time.
Are you saying you're putting that on Tucker or coordinators?
Well, I'm saying there's a lot of scenarios. So what we don't know is the behind the scenes. We don't know what they're preaching in the locker room. We don't know what could go wrong. What I do know is college sports can get out of control really fast. So if you lose the message, then good luck, because it's not coming back. You're not going to just bring your team back out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it can dissolve really quickly, and then you're just going to have to wait for the next year for it to come back. So it could be one of those scenarios where we just don't have enough information to know, but it was disappointing to see the on-the-field production, the lack of response to deal with the lack of production.
It shouldn't fall the way that it did. It shouldn't. I think their floor really was 6-6, and to go below that is where the problem is.
Yeah, agreed. You don't lose to Indiana.
Yep.
Last game of the year when a bowl is on the line. Like,
yeah,
there's no excuse for that.
Yep.
You need to be better.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it was kind of like, I feel like last year was their ceiling, and this year was their floor, and we need to really know, what is a Mel Tucker team going to be? And that's what 2023 is going to be all about, is figuring out.
It's going to be crucial.
Yeah, it really is massive. And I'm not saying that you overpaid or anything like that. I don't want to go down that road. But if you do not make changes after what we just went through this year, and then you do it again, that's when I'm like, might not be the guy. If he can make changes and you go through the growing pains now, and be like, all right, well, we're learning a new system, we're doing this, we're doing that, and you might go through get some losses because of that. I would rather, if I was a Spartan fan, I would rather see the changes be made and you do bad than stick to what we do. And kind of like the D'Antonio thing. D'Antonio went through that where it was like he just held on to his guys, just reshuffled them. He's like, well, these are my guys, I'm going to stick with them. And he did that way too long where it got really, really bad at the end. You can't have that with Tucker. You're getting a lot of money, and you have a lot of money that's your responsibility to pay other people. And if you can't show that you have the balls, I guess, to fire a friend, fire someone that you believe was supposed to be there, that's when you're going to lose your job, because you're not really running the program the way you should. Now, I keep comparing Mel Tucker to Dan Campbell. I did that early on this year. It was like it could go right very quickly. It could go wrong very quickly. I don't know when it's going right. I don't know the recipe. Like, I don't know exactly what's going on. But, like, Dan Campbell flipped the switch. He's made the tough decisions. He fired the offensive coordinator last year, and things got better. He fired the secondary coach this year, mid this year, and things got better. He wasn't afraid to make the call. He wasn't afraid to make the changes. And I think Mel Tucker needs to show that he's not afraid to. That's just kind of where I'm at.
Now, if things go awry in the next year and that following offseason with Tucker, can they even afford to fire him?
Yeah, because it's the booster that's paying him. It's that Ishbia guy that's paying the contract. So, I mean, he's buying the Suns.
Yeah.
So he's got plenty of money.
Yeah, he'll make that money back.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for the rest of his contract. That's a lot.
Yeah, but the buyout is pretty reasonable, if I remember right. I didn't look at the details of it, but that actually might have been if he leaves. So I might be wrong on that. But I don't know.
I just think you also can't forget that D'Antonio absolutely screwed this program.
Yep.
And what we're seeing right now, lack of talent-wise, is 2 years removed from D'Antonio's bullcrap move.
Yeah.
So this is where you're going to see that gap of talent, and it's not going to be easy for Mel Tucker to overcome this. So he's almost working with this kind of a year because he relied on the transfer portal for the year before and the guys to stick around, the key seniors to stick around. It's going to get tougher and tougher until his guys 4 years after he started this whole thing are going to be seniors and leading the team.
But you did say earlier they are more talented than the teams that they lost to.
Yeah,
and that's where the red flag is.
But this going into this year, we're comparing them to Michigan. We're comparing them to the upper echelon of the Big Ten. Right now we're like in the middle, right? They're somewhere in the middle, lost behind Wisconsin, behind even these other programs that have suffered.
Yeah, if you start seeing Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Maryland continue to be better. Like let's say Wisconsin and Nebraska,
Rutgers, Illinois,
figure it out and start skyrocketing up and becoming contenders again, the way that they have been in previous years, and kind of jump Michigan State. That's when I'd be like, oh boy.
Or how about USC and UCLA? How about that?
Yeah, that's another one.
Because this isn't getting any easier. I mean, the only way it's getting easier is you better hope that you've gotten a good enough record to make the playoff in the end.
Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Well, in our season preview, we were talking about this earlier off air about the odds to win the Big Ten, and the teams that we brought up: Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Penn State. The traditional. The
blue bloods of the Big Ten.
The blue bloods, the culprits. Michigan, Ohio State. They all had better odds to win the Big Ten, and they finished ahead of Michigan State. Dude, we just mentioned Iowa, Minnesota. This isn't a good look.
Purdue.
They're falling quickly.
Yeah,
like they really are.
You got to change.
Yeah, bottom quadrant of the Big Ten right now.
It's ugly.
Yeah, especially in the division they're in too.
Preseason ranked 15? You said, right?
Yeah, 15 AP 15th.
And did not make a bowl game.
Didn't make a bowl game.
Up to 11 before week 3.
To not even be bowl eligible. I think I heard something on the DP show that there was one team that finished under 500 that made a bowl game because there weren't enough teams that qualified.
Yep.
Was it Auburn?
No, it was.
Because I think Auburn was another 5.
I brought that list up a couple weeks ago for the teams that were going to.
Didn't you tell me Connecticut made a bowl game?
Yeah, UConn made a bowl game.
Yeah, they did.
Were
they like 4-8?
No, they had 6 wins.
Did they really?
I think they or 5
lost to
wins.
Marshall.
5 or 6.
Did they just lose to Marshall?
Is that who they played in the bowl game?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, so Notre Dame. So, UConn, Notre Dame.
So much for a soft Michigan schedule.
We're in the same conversation. No, I don't know. I thought it was worth talking about a little bit. It's going to be an interesting offseason for them.
Mel Tucker could go leave for Marshall, get the better job. They just won a bowl.
Yeah. It's just crazy that they're 1 year removed from, the Peach Bowl win against Pitt, or what was left of Pitt.
Yeah, Pitt without Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
And their stud wide
Where
receiver.
did Pitt end up this year? I don't even know. That was a question that I figured you guys didn't have the
4
answer
wins. 4-8.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. State of My Sports.
I don't understand how we're still under 2 hours. Like, we talked Lions.
I feel like we've been here for 4 hours.
I know, doesn't it feel like it?
Yeah.
Well, you kind of have been.
My eyelids are like...
We did restart.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
What time did you get here? 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quarter after.
Yeah, something like that. Got our picks for the week. What?
You did?
What?
You did?
Yeah.
Whoa.
He
Dang.
came here to help me set up, but it was already set up.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was already set up.
I brought the
I started
kids.
drinking beer.
I brought the kids, and we got set up, and then
nice.
brought the kids home.
Cool.
Cool.
It's a good story.
Yeah, you want me to tell you again?
Yeah.
All right, let's get into our picks of the week. BettingHero.com, promo code on my bets, whatever. Just figure it out. I'm going to hit the wrong button
No,
probably.
you don't need a bumper. Oh, okay.
I already did the bumper. I need the music, though, for the picks.
Promo code. Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic.
Did I say the right
yeah,
promo
I don't
code?
care. Figure it out.
Don't know.
I'm kind of done with these sponsors.
Well, they're kind of done with you.
I was going to say they're really done with us.
You're done with everything.
Surprised they haven't cut the lights out on us.
Oh, my
Seriously.
gosh.
Go to
All right.
bettinghero.com, and the URL is no longer active.
All right, 2 weeks ago, Micah went 2-5. Ryan went 4-3. I went 3-4. John 3-4. Kyle 2-5. Micah and Ryan are tied now at 61 and 50 overall. John only one game back at 60 and 51. That doesn't make it does make sense. And then I am at 58 and 53. Kyle Dragon in the back 55 and 56.
The king is behind.
I do not have Kyle's picks. I'm gonna get them off air.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I was just
gonna
trying to
copy
wrap out like not getting in last place by picking the same ones as him.
him. That's actually smart. I might do that.
But
Except
since
you might go 2-5.
since Ryan had a better week 2 weeks ago than Micah, that's like a
he goes first.
tiebreaker. He gets to go first.
He goes first.
Okay,
Yep.
I like that.
So we're gonna start with Thursday night football. We got the Jags at the Jets. It's a pick 'em.
Is there no
No spread. Pick it.
Really?
Pick it.
Picking Jets.
Micah.
Jags.
Oh, we got our first one. John.
Gosh, Thursday night games have been brutal. This is a battle for that class, right? Quarterback draft class.
Oh, yeah. 1 and 2, baby.
Oh, I didn't even that's kind of cool.
Give me the Jets at home. Maybe their defense stops the Jags enough.
The old Bezos special.
I'm gonna go Jags. I think they got something going right now. I'm gonna buy into it.
Very nice.
I think Trevor Lawrence leads the NFL in completion percentage since week 9.
Really?
Yeah, he's on fire.
How did he do that when that game against the Lions?
Yeah. How do
We're
you
the only
how
team
do-
that
how
can
do you
stop
think
him.
that?
We're
Yeah.
the only team that can stop him.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
He's unreal outside of.
We're unbeatable right now.
Yeah, we're the only team that's unbeatable. Everybody else is beatable.
Good luck, everyone.
Yeah. Detroit versus everybody, literally, because nobody can beat us. Just put your best team against.
SOL is just going to turn into win every week.
SOL is dead. Do you see my meme that I put?
Yeah, I did.
That was pretty good, right?
Same old Lions could be just a bunch of winners, though.
That's true.
Oh, I thought that was
It's
like
gonna be
a
this
I thought
brand
that
new
was
Lions.
like a little low kick at, was it Skull for the Vikings? And you were saying SOL. I was like, man, he forgot the K in there.
Oh, no. Same old Lions, baby. All right, moving on to Saturday. You got a 1 o'clock game. You got the Giants at the Vikings. Vikings minus 3.5. Ryan.
I'm going to pick the Vikings here. It kind of goes against my gut feeling in this one. I don't know. They're going to ride that hot second half they had against the Colts.
Micah.
Vikings. I hope it backfires on me.
John.
Here's my chance. Kirk Cousins, Minnesota, they clinched, right?
They
it's
did.
not a Sunday 1 o'clock game. It's a Saturday 1 o'clock
Everybody's
game.
watching.
Give me the Giants.
I'm taking the Giants as well. I don't know if they're going to win, but 3.5 for a team that just clinched the division. Don't really have a way to go up a whole lot. They're not going to catch the Eagles. So they might have a bad week. So I'm going to go with the Giants, at least cover the 3.5. Next, you got Saturday, 1 o'clock. You got Seahawks at the Chiefs. Chiefs minus 9.5.
Come on, man.
That's a lot of points.
It is a lot of points.
Yeah, give me the Chiefs. Seahawks cannot stop the run to save their life right now, and with that passing offense and the option to run it, like they're just not going to stop them.
Seahawks.
Oh, boy.
Are they going to win or just cover that spread?
No, they're going to cover. They ain't winning. Are you kidding me?
Kenneth
Come
Walker,
on,
he's going to have a big game for him?
Yeah, I could go with that.
Man, I really wanted to go Seahawks when I saw that 9.5. I thought I saw it for like 7.5 earlier, but maybe something changed. Tyler Lockett's out. Give me the Chiefs.
I'm going to go
At
Seahawks.
home.
Too many points for a team that's desperate. They're very, very desperate.
Let's get him, Ryan.
Yeah, we got
Seahawks.
it. I'm not worried.
Saturday, 4:05. Commanders at the 49ers. 49ers minus 7 at home.
49ers, baby. Got nothing for it. They're just a lot better.
Yeah. Niners.
I think the defenses match up a little equally here. And is Debo out?
Yeah, he's still out.
Give me the Commanders to win.
Whoa, whoa.
Come on now. That's a rooting against the Lions kind of attitude.
Hold the
All right,
phone.
go back to the sheet. Rooting guide. Go back to it.
Rooting guide number 17. Read
Yeah.
it.
I know. I just picked the Giants and the
Subsection
Commanders.
B.
What am I doing wrong? No, we'll just be able to use this bit next week when we pick up on that rooting guide and have to make the updates.
Go
Perfect.
root more.
Rooting guide. I'm going to take the Commanders to cover 7. They're going to lose. They're not going to win, but they're going to cover the 7 points. Okay? All right. Sunday.
Sam's so mad at me for
1
picking
o'clock.
the Commanders.
Yeah, I know. Like, Moneyline? Really? Well, I wish you would lose points.
He's
because
so
of
mad at me that he picked the Commanders after I picked them.
that. Sunday, 1 o'clock. You got the Packers at the Dolphins. Dolphins minus 4.5. Ryan?
I'm picking the Packers.
Ooh, that puts the pressure on Micah.
Yeah, Packers to cover at least.
At least. It's down in
Yeah,
Miami,
they're-
right?
You know, they're
Yeah.
Warm
good
weather
weather.
game, track game for
50 degrees, so it's actually not that warm.
It's 50 degrees.
Yeah.
watch snow
That's the
start
game
falling
time.
in
Yeah.
Miami. Yeah, baby.
Well, then that's cold for Tua, isn't it? He's not used to
It is
playing
cold
that
for
either.
Tua. He looked miserable in that game against
He needs a minimum of 82.
I don't know. There's a lot of speed at the wide receiving core. I'll take Tua and the Dolphins.
I'm going to take the Dolphins as well.
Jeez, Sam.
More hopium than anything. But honestly, the Packers, they beat the Rams and the Bears and had a bye. And everybody thinks that the Packers fixed everything. I'm sorry. I don't believe it.
Well, they're
Yeah, they
getting
were-
healthy. I don't think they really fixed a whole lot. That's the way I was looking at it.
I still think they looked like very discombobulated at times yesterday. They just, so, we'll see. I might be wrong. But I might be right. You never know. 4.5 is stupid, but whatever. All right, Sunday, 4:30. You got the Broncos at the Rams. Rams +2. This game is on here because you guys know
The validity of that.
that third overall pick.
Yeah.
Man, I got to take the Rams in this one. I want the Broncos. I just don't think they can score any points.
The Broncos are trash. Baker Mayfield is going to have a heyday. Yep. Rams, baby.
Clean sweep, Sam.
I don't know. I might go opposite.
Is Russell out?
I don't know. I was actually just thinking about that. I don't know.
Gosh, I should look at my fantasy squad, even though he's been on my bench all year.
My man, he's been out.
Yeah, I mean,
being
he hasn't been cooking, but
Yeah,
That's
he's
a-
cooking something.
yeah, that's just a tough game. Yeah, I got to go Rams here.
He's not dangerous. He's Toys R Us.
You know, I'm going to take the
Dangerous.
Broncos.
Oh, Sam's gonna tie me
This
in
is my
overall.
chance. This is my chance.
Overall
How
record.
much Kool-Aid did you give him?
I think it's his third right there. His third Kool-Aid.
Look. Yeah. The Rams are bad.
Rams are bad, yeah.
They are bad.
So are the Broncos.
So are the Broncos.
Yeah, but the Broncos
They're
at least have a
god-awful.
decent enough defense.
No.
Yeah, they do. They actually have a pretty darn good defense. I don't know if they've allowed 25 points.
I mean, Rams.
yet
You could
this-
say the same thing about the Rams.
Yeah,
If
that's true.
Aaron Donald.
Oh,
Jalen
is
Ramsey.
Donald back?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
I don't think he. I
don't
don't think
know.
he's gonna come back. I'm just gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna do what I said and take whoever I said. Broncos. Last game. You got the Saturday 1:00 slot. Christmas Eve. Lions at the Panthers. Panthers +3.
Taking Lions here. I've been betting for the Lions for I don't know how many weeks in a row. And I feel like it's
Paying off
paying off big
Why
time.
is the spread this close?
because it's at the Panthers and they're
yeah.
desperate.
So?
They have a chance to win the division still.
I think Panthers have a good defense.
They do have a good defense.
I just don't think they're going to keep up scoring wise.
Terrible.
I think they do it because Detroit's been like a good, solid pick in Vegas all year. So
Yeah.
they've just kept that spread like super tight for
In a
them.
3-point road favorite, that's not that much. So that's
No.
basically saying that the Lions are 6 points better. Would you say that they're 12 points better? Like, you can't really do that. So I think it's actually pretty fair, the 3 points.
Jared Goff doesn't play really well outside, so we'll see what happens. I mean, he's proved that wrong here recently in a couple
Good
weeks.
grief.
But
Tell you what, if that spread was 6.5, I'd still take the Lions. Are you kidding me?
Love it. John,
this is on the rooting guide.
rooting guide.
You might want to refer to that.
Yeah, 5.3.17.
Yeah. Lions kick a
First
game.
6.
Lions kick a game-winning field goal to win by 1, and Carolina covers. No, I'm picking the Lions. Come on now.
I think the Lions offense gets back on track and absolutely dominates this football game. I think it's going to be another 35 points.
Here we go,
35-14, 35-10. They're just going to smoke them because Panthers suck.
Wait, hold on. What were you saying when
Like
I
you
was
said.
picking?
I know, I was just joking.
Wow.
No, look, I think the Lions they have something figured out. They're the better team, clearly.
Yeah.
Too many weapons. Not enough weapons. Give me another one.
I think with
Jackson Smith and Jigba. Let's go. Let's take them.
who's sorry, I'm blanking on the quarterback. Who's the quarterback for Panthers?
Sam Darnold.
Darnold.
Yeah, Darnold. Yeah, I don't see how they get out of there without at least one turnover, and the theme will continue.
I think it's gonna be a lot. It could be a lot like the Jets game, but I think the Lions' offense will be better than it was against the Jets. So
Cool.
that's where. Yeah. All right. Bye.
Well, do we want to hang out for another 7.3 minutes?
Drinking craft beer,
Crack that 2
having
hours?
fun,
do it.
Game.
and talking sports in the state of Michigan. You're listening to State of My Sports.
Beers. We drink beers today.
Yeah.
Micah drank Juiceel Ball.
Sure did.
We all drank premium lager. I think we've all graded these before.
Sure have.
I would say go check out DeHops, but can't really do that. So
Unless you hurry by the time we leave,
Yeah,
we'll
maybe.
sell you a beer out of the fridge for cash.
yeah, exactly.
Just kidding, DeHop.
Yeah.
We
Just
want to do
kidding.
such
Wink,
We're not actually
wink.
doing that. No, but we'll let you know when they open, if they open.
Yeah,
And-
I'm not counting.
I'm
on
not
it.
counting on
And
it.
if we hear from them about it,
Yeah, that
open
has
it.
something to do with it too. But it was a fun relationship for the last couple of years, 3 years with the Hops. I'm assuming it's over. We'll see. Maybe they'll
Yeah.
surprise us and reopen and
Yeah, I mean we're all
keep it-
hoping,
keep it
right?
going. Yeah, but
We're hopping.
that's kind of
DeHops.
hopping.
Get it?
that's kind of all we got. I
Instead
mean,
of
that's
hoping.
kind of our
We
beer
hop.
Hoping.
our beer grades for the day. Looking for the outro. That's the outro. That was episode 185.
Oh, we're not rating these?
No,
I was
We
going
already
to give
did.
it like a 6.0 since I have 60 wins in the pick'em on the season.
there you go.
6.1.
All right, 6.2. Thank you guys for recording. Oh, thank you all
You've
for
been
listening.
to
See ya.
State of
Talk to you
My
next week.
Sports. From the Red Wings to the Lions to the Tigers to the Pistons to Michigan and Michigan State and everything in between, we're talking about it. And don't forget the beer. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. In the meantime, hook up with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at State of My Sports with an MI. We'll see you next time.